that our friends again?
Looks like it. Dogfight.
1917 is the latest addition to the short list of one-shot films. It's an amazing technical achievement that shows the terror of war in a revolutionary way, making the audience feel the raw emotions and tensions felt by the characters. With this film appearing to be one long take, its unique style of storytelling can be truly breathtaking. There is a long history of filmmaking that has led to this. Let's deconstruct the art of the one-shot. "1917 displays a gripping story that is heightened by its smooth flow between scenes in what appears to be a seamless shot. We move from slow moments of dialogue to fast-paced action set pieces. It is an incredible experience, but it is not the first to do this. We first need to go back all the way to a little past the year 1917 to 1948. One of the first films to do this was Rope, made by some guy named Alfred Hitchcock. It pushed the boundaries of what was possible at the time. This is way before the modern age of digital storage. Hitchcock was limited to only being able to film around 10 minutes of footage at a time. On top of this, there weren't modern-day special effects to mask out potential scene transitions. Despite these limitations, the illusion of a continuous take was still achieved. This paved the way for different forms of media to use this technique, with films like Running Time, Birdman,
The Phoenix Rises,
and Victoria, but also entire episodes of television like in Mr. Robot, and even an entire video game, God of War. Now there is a distinction that needs to be made here, as there are one-shot films and those that appear to be one-shot. I've mentioned clever cuts that have allowed a film to look like it is one continuous take, but there are films like Victoria that are actually literally one continuous uncut shot. Let's quickly discuss the differences between Victoria and Birdman. In Birdman, with the ability to cut between takes, you have room to explore the world of the film a little more cleverly and can have scenes like this. While in Victoria, being one raw shot delivers a different perspective. The camera being handheld captures things in a more attached and realistic view. These one-shots take tons of preparation and are incredibly difficult to execute. So how do they pull them off? There are two things that have to work in tandem for it to all come together: editing and execution. Let's talk about editing first. With the illusion of a one-shot, there are multiple clever cuts that must stitch together to seem like a single take. Filmmakers use these three primary techniques: filling the frame, whip pans,
Where are you going?
I won't be long.
and VFX. Filling the frame can be as simple as finishing the shot while walking into a dark environment. This allows for the shot to be brought from the dark into whatever the next shot calls for. This technique is heavily used in Rope. The frame would be filled while passing behind a character, and this is where a hidden cut would take place, and the new shot would begin continuing around the character. Whip pans are probably one of the easier to execute. Moving the camera fast enough to cause a motion blur allows for a cut to be hidden during the action. One shot ends with the whip pan, and the next shot starts by moving the camera in the same direction and similar speed. VFX transitions are a little trickier. This involves an object or person passing in front of the screen but not completely obscuring it. As the camera passes by the object, a match cut to a different shot is used as the next shot continues. An example will explain things better, and let's use one from 1917. The first cut happens as the camera passes behind his back. As we transition to them helping the pilot out of the airplane, we get another hidden cut as we pass by the pole. After laying him down on the ground, we get another cut as we pass behind his back again. The three cuts allow the scene to flow seemingly uninterrupted.
We should put him out of his misery.
No, get him some water, he needs water.
But obviously it takes more than just the editing. The editor has to have all of that beautiful long take footage and to get that footage, the camera has to do some crazy things sometimes to get the exact shots needed. Dynamic camera movement comes with the territory of a one-shot. The camera has to move from a person to a crane, back to a person, to a jeep, to a motorcycle, to a helicopter, all at one time. Well, maybe not at once. The camera has to be mobile enough to keep up with the action, and filmmakers have to use their full bag of tricks. Some of the ways the camera is moved around is by various rigs, simply running with the camera, riding on a motorcycle or vehicle, and sometimes a drone. There's an incredible amount of planning that goes into a one shot. Actors have to give a near perfect performance in each shot that can last minutes at a time. Background actors have to hit their mark, and the camera operators have to keep things in focus and properly exposed. There are numerous elements that all have to blend together to make each take right.
It's like a piece of theatre every take. Once it starts, it can't stop. If something goes wrong, you just have to keep going.
For example, in the filming of Victoria, it took 3 attempts to film the entire one shot. That seems rather impressive considering its over 2-hour runtime. A unique perspective about 1917 is this isn't a film that takes place indoors most of the time. Almost every scene takes place in an outdoor environment, which meant for the sake of continuity, they had to wait for ideal weather conditions before shooting.
Because we were shooting in story order, we have to shoot in cloud to get the continuity from scene to scene. So some mornings the sun would be out and we couldn't shoot. So we would rehearse.
And we're rehearsing.
And then we'd be waiting around, everyone with their eyes up in the sky, trying to see how long it'd take for the sun to move behind the cloud.
But what exactly is the point of a film shot this way? Long takes can be boiled down to simply being a technique used to deliver a story. It forces the viewer into the world of the film in a more direct way. I found that while watching 1917, I felt claustrophobic, trapped inside a scene knowing that there would be no cut from the action or relief from tension. You are locked into the moment. The viewer is given a singular, omniscient perspective that is never broken. You can feel the fear in moments like this in 1917. Long takes typically are done in a smaller capacity that may be showcasing a dramatic scene or exploring an environment. We can learn things about characters just from their mannerisms and interactions during a long take. A great example of this is in Goodfellas.
What are you doing? You're leaving your car?
It's about a 3-minute long take and shows us the affluence Henry Hill has. They skip the line and go through his favorite way to the event. As they make their way through, we see he runs into people that he knows because he's been there so many times, emphasizing the fact that he has connections and influence. It ends by them getting a seat at the front. In 3 minutes with minimal exposition, we can learn about the kind of guy Henry is, even if he isn't the most forthcoming.
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
You don't feel like you're in construction.
Long takes are more than just the visual artistry. Although a complex feat, it can deliver a story with riveting and awe-inspiring images. From rope revolutionizing the concept in 1948 all the way to today, long takes are a dynamic storytelling technique that immerse the viewer in the world of the film. It takes months of planning, great acting, multiple camera rigs, great editing, and a little bit of luck. When done well, it can truly be an unforgettable experience. I'm sure 1917 won't be the last film to accomplish such a feat, and I cannot wait for the next film that does.
Wow. Is it all over? I'm afraid so, Rupert. Oh, what a pity.
Thank you so much for watching, and I want to thank all of my new subscribers as I'm very close to reaching the 2,000 subscriber mark, which is just crazy to think about. Of course, I wasn't able to talk about all of the best long takes out there, so be sure to comment your favorite one below, and also let me know your thoughts on 1917. Please consider liking and subscribing for more content like this. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.